Like playing a double octave scale with air, speed, and squeeze. I've been doing that for 50, 60 years. Right? You didn't know I was over 80, did you? All right. Anyway, I've been doing that for all that time. And suddenly Terry Warburton comes up with this thing. And it's similar on the one end to my little tube, but it has this at the end. And what the whole idea is, you put it in between, and now you squeeze, but you pull. It'll pull a little bit, and you go. So you see the formation. Now, what a lot of people don't do with this is, I time it. I want to systematically build up. As they get stronger and stronger, I systematically build up. And when you get up to about 60 seconds or 65 seconds, you know you're burning. You're burning in there. Then, for 30 seconds on that rest of it, then you turn it around and you do the other end. And the other end is just a straight squeeze. And at the end of 60 seconds, you're burning. You're burning. So then I rest about a minute, and I do them both again. I do this, and then I do that. And then later in the day, I might do the same thing again. But what it does, when I first started, I would only do about 40 seconds. And I built it up. And I have other players up north, they're using it, and it's helped considerably. It's amazing what the difference is in their endurance and their sound.
P.E.T.E really did change my life. It's going to build a confidence in you you have never had before. Let me talk about my story. When I went and saw Terry Warburton over at Warburton Music Products, I went to get a mouthpiece. I didn't go to get this. And after I tested out a bunch of mouthpieces, and he said, when you're done, I want to show you something. And he brings this out, and he says, try this. He says, but you can't use this until after you're done playing, because you have to take an hour to 2 hour break after you do your P.E.T.E exercises. He actually recommends that you do it at night, right before bed, which is what I do every night. And so I did the exercises, and he said to me, you'll feel this in the morning when you wake up. You won't even be thinking about trumpet, and bam, you'll think about this because you'll feel it. I yesed him to death. I went home. I did the P.E.T.E exercises. I went to bed. Next morning I woke up. Alarm clock rings. I wake up. All of a sudden, oh, I feel this right in the middle of my face. All these chops are burning. You feel it just moving, tingling. And of course, first thing I thought about was the P.E.T.E. Within 3 days, I'd increased my range by an entire whole step, just using the P.E.T.E and doing my normal practice. Now, keep in mind, the P.E.T.E is not a substitute for practice. It is in addition to your normal, everyday practice routine. So don't think, oh, I can do 3-4 minutes on the P.E.T.E and not do any practicing. That won't do you as much good. You definitely want to make sure you continue your regular practice regime while you are doing this. P.E.T.E exercises, both the first and the second. If you do this for seconds on end, you're going to start to feel it working this part of your embouchure. That's right, it's working actually the sides of your face down here. Why, you ask? Because the control comes from here. Most of players agree through the years that if there was a way to exercise these muscles, we would be able to harness even better, control the instrument, and endurance, power, even register to a degree. We would be able to control that a lot better if this could be exercised. Well, the problem is traditional long tones take forever to do that. Yes, they do the job, but they don't do it like the P.E.T.E does. What you do is you create that seal and you pull, and it stretches all these muscles out here. Hold it for about 15 seconds or so, and you'll start to feel that burn. Once you start to feel that burn, you want to relax. Take about 15 seconds off, do it again. So repeat that 3 or 4 times. As you get better at it, it'll take longer to feel that burning. And you'll be building endurance, you'll be building power as you do that. highly recommend having one. It is going to absolutely revolutionize brass playing as we know it.
This is what it looks like. It's a small silver object, very high quality, nice silver plating on it. Has a disc on one end with a small tube, and on the other end it has a concave shape to it so that you can get your lips around that and do your exercises. Now, what Terry recommends on his sheet is 2 exercises, one for range and one for endurance. I'll show you over the last week what I've been doing with this and how it seems to work for me. First of all, the disc is really unique because it goes inside the lip and then you pull on it. So what happens is your chops are resisting back this way, which is great because in airplay we don't want our lips to chase the air into the mouthpiece. And a lot of people, especially folks with bigger lips or bigger cups, the tendency is for that lip to want to chase the air and spread out and open. By slightly tilting it up, you'll work the lower lip area. Tilting it down, you're working the top lip, and you feel the burn in all the right places. I'll be honest, the first couple days I did this, man, it popped right out, and I didn't realize how lax I was in here. But I don't do a lot of heavy show type blowing, and what I've found over the last week or so is it's kind of gotten my chops in shape so I can play that power sound and then come right back down to nothing and have the strength and finesse to be able to do it.
So Will, how did you first hear about the P.E.T.E. or be exposed to it?
Well, the first time I heard about it, Ken, was one night at rehearsal. You were showing some of the other trumpet players, and I kept saying, what is this little funny looking thing there, man? Because I've been looking for stuff over the years to help, you know, massage my face and my muscles and stuff there. So really, you were the first person that had the exposure. I saw it through you, so.
Now, I've known you for 22 some years and played every Sunday night. I've always known you to be down on the 3rd or 4th or bass trombone parts. Now,
yeah.
What is the history of that? Because you used to play tenor.
Actually, I love playing those parts now, but really the whole thing started way back at probably in the first part of '70. I woke up one morning and I had Bell's palsy. So that sort of threw everything out as far as my trombone playing. I went a whole year not being able to play any notes at all. And finally, when I finally came back, I started out on the smallest mouthpieces I could find, you know, because I had leakage on both sides, you know, just flubber all over the place there, you know. So finally, over the years, I've been trying with the smaller horn, and so I finally decided to go bass trombone. And I found out with the bass trombone, it works a lot for me because of the size of the mouthpiece, and it wasn't leaking as much, but I've always wanted to try to continue to keep trying to find something to strengthen the muscles, you know, these weak muscles, you know. So I've been looking, you know, over the years, I've continued to keep looking. So therefore, when I saw this little thing here, I said, interesting. I wonder what this could do for me. When I tried it the first time, I noticed how I just kept massaging these muscles around here. And I noticed that even with that, how I wasn't leaking out of the side here anymore. And I just knew that something was happening in a positive way. So as the week went on, and looked at probably around Thursday or so, I noticed that things began to tighten up a little bit here. So I got this little smile on my face, things getting a little excited about it, you know. So by the time I got rehearsal on Sunday, I guess I had the P.E.T.E set in. I walked in just blabbermouthing to Kenny, just telling him what a great experience I had experienced, and that already within a week, I was noticing that the muscles over here began to sort of tighten up a little bit more than what they were. And I was just completely out there. So I said I would never give it up. This is my #1 thing. So today, it's been a little bit over about a month and a half. And I'm telling you, I have the P.E.T.E. I will always have it. And it's been one of the greatest things that I've experienced for rebuilding my muscles and strengthening up the muscles, both for my tenor trombone playing and my bass trombone playing. So heads off to the P.E.T.E makers. Hey, I got P.E.T.E.
Thanks, Will.
You're welcome. Take care.